Hi everyone, it is Beth with Flying by the Seed of My Plants, and today is Saturday, June 10th, and I wanted to give you an update on the onions. And on June 1st or June 2nd, I went ahead and pruned or topped off my onions, and they were basically at the 10-week mark, and I wasn't sure if I was hurting the onions or if it was beneficial. So looking at the onions today, it's definitely beneficial. I wouldn't go past the 10-week mark, unless you absolutely have to. But if they are bulbing, I wouldn't top off your onions. I think that's a big, crucial thing to note there. Because there was another person on YouTube that went ahead and he topped his onions, but they were already bulbing, and it basically made them stop. So when I topped mine, they were pretty much a hot mess, and I think it was from the sage plant, just because it came over and started beating down my onions. And I have so much new growth, and I'll insert a picture of what that looked like when I pruned them all the way down. So I really wasn't sure how that was going to turn out, but they're doing great. And the other thing I did, so that was around June, I think June 2nd, I added the blood meal, and that has 12% nitrogen in it. So your onions definitely, as they're in the growing stage, need the nitrogen. I did go on the Dixondale website just to see when I should stop adding it. And right now it's every 2 to 3 weeks that you want to add nitrogen. And this promotes all the green growth. And every new growth here is the bulb. It's doing more layers on the bulb. So I did add the blood meal, and they're doing great. So they're not bulbing right now, but that's okay. And this is the bed that I went ahead and trimmed and added, I added bone meal to both of my onion beds. And this one that I actually trimmed or pruned or topped is doing better than the other bed. I mean, these are beautiful and green and all this new growth. And I'm still getting new growth over there, which I'll show you that bed too. I was going to do a quick update on my garden and how it's doing. The peppers, at the same time, I went ahead and fertilized them, adding trifecta, and I added tomato tone. And they're doing great. My shishito peppers are really starting to get a lot of peppers on them now. And those are the most prolific peppers I have ever grown. And you just pick them and you keep getting more. And I like to char the pepper. And I'm going to try something different on charring them. Because during my plant sale, I had so many different wonderful people. And I was explaining to this young guy that stopped by about the shishitos, and I said, I told him how I like to prepare them. I said, but the problem is it just smokes. It sets off the fire alarm. And so he asked what kind of oil, and I used the olive oil. And he goes, no, you need to use a more higher heat oil. So he suggested avocado oil. So I'm going to go ahead and try that, and I'll share that with you guys, how that turns out. Got a lot going on today. Number one, I wanted to share how these onions were doing, and they're doing great. I'll show you the other bed, during the garden tour, and how the peppers are doing. I have sweet peppers in a bed in the back, which I'm going to go ahead and add the trifecta to those. And I didn't add fertilizer yet. They were just put in a well-nourished soil. But now I want to start adding some more fertilizer. I'm getting a lot of flowers, some nice growth. But now that I'm getting the flowers, I do want to start adding. And my favorite that I use is the Trifecta Plus. And it is from M.I. Gardner. And Okay, so with the nitrogen, of course, that helps with the green growth and leaf development. And right now, that's why we're focusing on the leaf development of the onions. The more leaves you get, that's the building of the bulb. And the phosphorus helps with root development and flower production. And potassium helps boost plant immunity and fruit set. So those are going to be important for my pepper plants. So right now, like I said, they're getting the flowers, and I already fertilized all these with the hot peppers with a tomato tone, which I could add tomato tone, um, because of the calcium in there. It also needs the calcium. But back there, I'm just going to use the Trifecta Plus. And I absolutely love the Trifecta Plus. I've been using it for years. And so that's my go-to on the fertilizer. So I'm going to go ahead and show you around. And another thing I'm going to be doing today real quick. And it's really important to succession sow. Hang on, I got to get in a more comfortable position here. Okay, so some other things I'm going to be planting today, which I already did start quite a few beans around in different parts of my garden. But today I have an open area. It's where my radishes were. And I'll be planting more radishes later, but I'm going to do it more in the back beds where it will have a little more shade because they're more cooler weather. So the dragon tongue, I'll be planting in that bed over there. And it's called, from M.I. Garner, Top Notch Golden Wax Bean. And these dragon tongue I got from Baker Creek. And the other thing that's good to succession sow is the cilantro. And this is a slow boat cilantro because it's also one that really doesn't like a lot of heat. So I want to plant that now so that when I start getting my tomatoes in, that's when I like making the salsa, and I love adding cilantro to that. And the flowers and the cilantro just smell so good in the garden. And the other thing is the spinach. This is Bloomsdale Longstanding. So, and that is a good thing to succession sow as well. So I'll be adding those to the garden, and I'm just going to take you around real quick and show you what's going on. But definitely wanted to catch you up on these onions, and I'll take you over to the other bed so you can see how that one looks. And that's the one I did not top off. Okay, so here's this garden bed, and I did not top it off. And I could see one over there, here, that's all bulbing. And so it doesn't really look as good as the ones that I topped off. Really strange. So anyhow, these are doing good, but compared to the other bed, let me take you back there real quick. And this is the bed that I topped off. And I don't see any bulbing going on right now, which is fine, because it's still building the layers. And I added the same amount of fertilizer to each bed, so it's looking good. Okay, so here's this pepper bed, and everything looks great. And the noise that you hear, I have a rodent. It just emits a sound every minute. And before I put it in there, I had a groundhog that was munching on one of the pepper plants. This one. And since I put it there, I haven't seen any more damage over in this bed. But I am starting to get Cubanelle peppers. And those get quite large. And there's another one here. Oh, a couple of them. So I'm going to let those go, of course, because I like to stuff them. And then over in this bed, I have some bunching onions over here, and this one was not marked when I planted them, so this actually looks like it's a leek. So I could separate them out or just leave them and pull them like whenever I want to make soup or something like that. I'll have to look up different recipes. And over here is the chamomile. And I did already pull a bunch of these off, which I'm going to do it again and dry them. And I do have a video coming up on that. I'm just air drying them because you want to do it at a very low heat. And I think my dehydrator would be too hot for that. So, but you know, harvesting these flowers for making tea. And then here is the sage plant. And it's just gorgeous. And then of course the onions right there. And here are the shishito peppers. And there's a lot more over here. So I'm going to give this a few days and I'll probably start harvesting that. The more you harvest, the more you get. So okay, so over here, this is where I'm going to plant some more spinach in here. I have some here, but that will, you know, I'm going to harvest some, but that's going to start bolting because of the heat. So I'll add that spinach to this area. And here's some cilantro here that I started. So I'll be planting more of that. And then in this bed is where I'm going to add those dragon beans and the yellow wax. And here are strawberries. Let's see if you can see that one. I already had one, but it wasn't quite ready. So these are the ones that came back from last year, and these are the new ones that I got from Maria Gardens. And I'm not sure exactly what kind these are, but I'm seeing flowers, so it'll be fun to find out how they do and how they taste. And here's the other green stalk. This is the one that had all the lettuce in it. And so the lettuce was going to start bolting because we're getting some heat in our days now. And so I did plant some petunias. And then here are Tiny Tim tomatoes, extras that I had. And I also planted some mini bells. So it's a multicolored mini bell plant. And petunia. And I did the Tulsa holy basil here. And more mini bell. And I also did some cinnamon basil. And on the very bottom I did seeds with the baby's breath. Okay, so really quick I'm going to show you the perennial flower bed. Here is columbine and catnip, lemon balm, more catnip. I planted some zinnias in here. There is some black-eyed Susans coming up. There is the lemon balm. And irises are almost done. And then here I have balloon flowers, so I'll show you when they start blooming. And these are black-eyed Susans. These I didn't plant, the birds planted them for me. Here is a star blue, I think it's called the blue star gazing plant. And the blooms are pretty much done on this, so it's just all the greenery. Here I put some the Mexican sunflower for the butterflies. And then over here I have extra San Marzano tomato, and I did plant some seeds in here. I think some zinnias, calendula, and then over here I did put some bean. So they're starting to come up. And another San Marzano, some petunias, calendula. Here is Sweet Williams. And here I planted Cracker Jack marigolds, some seeds. And not sure what that is. I think sunflowers, but we'll see. And here's some more of the Sweet William. Here is some milkweed. This all came back from last year. A lot of it did. And Abby, move. Coneflowers. Here are the snapdragons. This one's starting to bloom. More milkweed. And I don't see any eggs. Snapdragon. Sunflowers, milkweed that I winter sown, gladiolus. More snapdragons. And here I planted okra, 2 of them. It was suggested that I plant 2. It'll be my first year doing that, so we'll see how they do. And just zinnias and different things that I planted in here. And here is the potato bags. And I can see some sprouting going on here. And as I grow taller, I'll add more soil. And then here I have some sunflowers in here. Here's all my eggplant. And these are the sugar snap peas. And they're climbing. And behind there I have cherry tomatoes, which I'll start securing to the cattle panel. And some kohlrabi in there. I have Swiss chard. In here, it's the rainbow. First time growing that. Some kohlrabi here. Some Detroit red beet. And then more cherry tomatoes. And here is all my squash. So I'm adding the tomato cages to that. So when it grows up, I'll show you. I'll be removing the lower leaves to help it grow up this tomato cage. And that's just to help keep it from the powdery mildew. And I can plant them closer because I'm going to be trilling or, growing them up. Some sunflowers. And I have patty pans in here. And then here is the sweet pepper bed. And there's a bell pepper starting. And this is the one I'm going to add some more, or some Trifecta Plus. I haven't added it yet. And here is the Cubanelle. And the groundhog. Got a hold of that one. But I do have some Cubanelle starting. So the peppers look great. And some basil along the edge here. And then, okay, so in the herb garden, I don't know what this is still, but it looks like it's getting ready to flower, so we'll find out. I think it's a lily, but not sure. And then here's all the herbs that I planted. And we've been really dry here, so I gotta water. Thyme is my favorite. And then over here in the raised bed these are cucumbers right here, and it looks like they need some fertilizer. So I'm going to be adding some Trifecta to this. And here's some more. And here is a yellow squash, yellow summer squash. And here are the purple long bean, and this will trellis up, and it's starting. It's got its little tendrils winding around. And look over here. These snapdragons are blooming. And then over here I have on this side of the trellis, I have pumpkin, sugar pie pumpkin. And then over here, I have some more squash. Didn't put markers in, so we'll find out what that is. Could be acorn or yellow squash, I'm not sure. And then over here, the kajari that I replanted, and I could see that it's just starting to germinate. because the groundhog ate like 4 of them. But I still have this one he didn't touch, that one he didn't touch, and this one. And then he did start munching on this pepper plant. And looks like he munched on a couple of these. These are my, I believe those are my paprikas. Oh, no, these are my Hungarian hots. Ugh. Anyhow, I got to work on some more things to keep that groundhog away from the garden. So my cousin made me this, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and he does sell them. I mean, it is better than any one that I've seen in any commercial gardening center. He made it all out of wood, a pine wood, and the plan was to have vining flowers going up it, but because of the plant selling, you know, it took 2.5 weeks that I was working on that, and that was every single day. That I got late on starting those flowers. So I went ahead and I did plant some sunflowers down here at the base and some zinnias, and they're all starting to come up. So that's going to grow up through here and just be gorgeous. And then here's all the tomato plants, which are doing great. And that's sweet peat all at the base. And over here I planted, let's see if you could see that. I can't tell what it's planting yet. Zinnias right in here. And I did some acorn squash splashed around. I have some dill out here, sunflowers. So, and I did put a potting soil on here just so I know that I have seeds in there, because I don't want to accidentally start weeding in there and pull them all out. So I am getting flowers on my tomatoes, and it's all looking really good. This is calendula. Here is, I believe it's calendula, seeds that I started. Here is some lilacs right here, marigolds, zinnia I planted in here, flatleaf parsley. I'm not sure exactly. I think this is salvia. And then here is an acorn squash, I believe. I didn't mark everything. Some flatleaf parsley. This is the stevia. And I had been pruning it so it'll bush out more. See how those 2 shoots are coming out there? So I'm going to take it off right there, and that will cause it to bush more, like that one. And this is very sweet. It's like sugar. You can add it to drinks. I have not dehydrated it to see how that would be to use it as a sugar. And it's all natural. And here's the large leaf basil. And this one here is a parsley that is going to seed, but it's very pretty. I was just looking to see any caterpillars, but I don't see any. Here's my garlic. This was started last year in end of September. I think I planted these, and this is where I harvested all the scapes. Made a pesto, and then I'll also be adding cheese to it whenever I get ready to serve the pesto. But anyhow, this I'll be harvesting probably in about 2 weeks. Here's some pink celery. And that was started from seed. So that'll be exciting. I've never had pink celery. I've never grown celery, actually. Ooh, that's looking really good. This is dinosaur kale, bunching onions. Here is the cauliflower. I don't know how it's going to do, but I did a purple and an orange. Because it's getting really warm in our area now. I planted more zinnia seeds in there. Here is the carrots. And I started those back in March. So once you start seeing the shoulders of the carrots, that's usually when you can harvest them. You could do it sooner, you'll just have smaller carrots. And then more zinnia in here, calendula, and then over here are my blackberries. And these are doing great. So probably in another month I'll start picking blackberries. And you could freeze blackberries for preserving if you want. And I'd like to get enough where I can add it to, or make a jelly. So there you go. That's the tour of my garden. I think I got everything. So hopefully your guys' gardens are doing really well. Okay, so that is the garden tour. That's June 2nd, so everything is just really starting to get the blossoms and everything with the garden. And of course, you know, today I'll be planting the beans, which I already planted over there, which I showed you in the one bed. But I want to plant some more, and I'll be planting spinach. Spinach is more of a cool weather. I'm going to try this though. It's Bloomsdale Longstanding. And this is actually it's an heirloom from 1925. It's better in hot weather than most. So that's why I think these would do well. Because we are starting to get in the heat now. And this cilantro, slow boat cilantro, and I will be succession sowing that because I do want, I want it for my salsas. So, all right, just wanted to show you what was going on in the garden, and also about those onions that I topped off, and the different things, the 3 numbers on your fertilizers, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, the potassium, and you also want other things in your soil too. This does have sulfur in it, calcium, magnesium. Magnesium is really important. Iron. And this is mixed, he has on here, with the Trifecta Plus that I use. Bone meal, green sand, potash, kelp meal, blood meal, poultry manure, urea feather meal, cottonseed meal. There's a lime in there, calcium. A lot of these I can't even pronounce. Azomite, rock phosphate, alfalfa meal. So, and it's all well rounded in there, whatever measurements they use. I absolutely love this. My plants always do so well with the Trifecta. So, wanted to share that, and I'm not affiliated with M.I. Gardener. I do buy a lot of his seeds and his fertilizer though. So, anyhow, thanks for joining me, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I'm going to get on with planting more beans and fertilizing my peppers. And hope you guys are having a great day. And thank you to all the subscribers that are returning. And if you're new to the channel and you like the content, there's going to be a lot more coming. And I'm trying to get better with videoing. Totally new at this. Just started like end of December, I believe, with YouTube. And anyhow, so if you guys like the content, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I will talk to you on the next one. All right.